Yo, what's going on, man? It's Mo Salim here from tripleyourt.com, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can measure your testosterone levels. More specifically, we're going to go over 3 points in particular. So the first thing we'll talk about is the two different types of testosterone, because testosterone is not just one number. Second, we'll talk about the problem with the so-called normal range of testosterone levels and what you should shoot for instead. And third, we'll go over how you can get a reading of your testosterone level without the need of a prescription from a doctor, and how to analyze your results. With that being said, let's dive in. Alright, so the first thing you need to understand is that testosterone is not just one number. So just a quick overview of how testosterone is produced. So it actually all starts in a region of the brain called the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus releases GnRH, which is gonadotropin releasing hormone, which then makes its way to another area of the brain called the hypothalamus. In the hypothalamus, GnRH triggers the production of LH and FSH, which are luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. And then these hormones enter the bloodstream, after which they make their way to the testes. Inside the testes, LH and FSH enter into the testicular Leydig cells, in which they trigger the enzymes that convert cholesterol molecules into testosterone. After testosterone is released into the bloodstream, about half of it attaches to sex hormone binding globulin. And SHBG is actually a carrier protein which attaches to testosterone molecules, because your body only requires a very small amount of testosterone at any given moment. And the purpose of SHBG is to safeguard testosterone so that it is not metabolized by the body too quickly. But the problem with SHBG is that it has a very high binding affinity, so testosterone cannot easily break through from it and apply an influence. So about 45% of the total testosterone gets attached to SHBG, while about 52% of it attaches to another carrier protein called albumin. Albumin, like SHBG, is a carrier protein, but unlike SHBG, it has a very low binding affinity, which means that testosterone can easily break through from it and begin to apply an influence. So only about 2% of testosterone is allowed to remain in its free form, which is called free testosterone. So the total amount of testosterone in your body is a combination of SHBG bound testosterone, albumin bound testosterone, and free testosterone. SHBG bound testosterone is considered biologically inactive, while albumin bound testosterone and free testosterone is considered biologically active. And this is important to understand, because a man with high total levels of testosterone can still end up experiencing the symptoms of low testosterone if his SHBG levels are too high. So yeah, the first point to understand is that testosterone is not just one number, and that the most important thing for you to look at is the amount of testosterone that's allowed to actually exert an influence, which is albumin bound and free testosterone. Alright, so the next point we have to go over is the problem with the so-called normal range of testosterone levels and what you should shoot for instead. So whether you look online or refer to your lab's reference range, the so-called normal range of testosterone level, total testosterone level, lies anywhere between 200 to 1200 nanograms per deciliter. Now that's a huge range, alright? And the problem occurs because if you lie within that range and you go to your doctor, he'll tell you everything is good because you are within the normal range. But normal does not imply optimal. So the first time I ever got my testosterone level measured, it came back at 564 nanograms per deciliter, total testosterone, alright? Now that's well within the normal range, but that was also the level at which I was skinny fat, embarrassed with my shirt off in public, lacked drive, lacked motivation, lacked enthusiasm, and overall just lacked direction in my life. But after taking the steps to naturally increase my total testosterone level from 564 to 902 nanograms per deciliter by making simple changes in my diet and lifestyle, not only did my body totally transform, but it also transformed my mindset as well, alright? I went from being a victim of external circumstances to taking responsibility for my own health, happiness, and fulfillment. So yeah, the point to understand is that normal is not what you should strive for. Instead, what you need to strive for is optimal. And I define optimal testosterone levels to be above 700 nanograms per deciliter. But as we went over before, a man can have high total testosterone while still having low free testosterone. So this is why it's important to strive for free testosterone level above 12 nanograms per deciliter. But the problem with free testosterone is that it makes up such a small percentage of the total testosterone in your body that it can be hard to measure. But 9 times out of 10, if you have high total T, you will also have high free T. But yeah, bottom line is that you should strive for a testosterone level of over 700 nanograms per deciliter. And if you believe that declining testosterone levels are inevitable with age, I highly recommend you check out my testosterone myths video, which I'll link out to below. But the bottom line is that the relationship between testosterone and age is a classic case of correlation versus causation. Although older age is correlated with lower testosterone levels, older age is not the cause of lower testosterone levels. And this point was demonstrated by scientists in Australia who brought in 325 men between the ages of 47 and 97 who had self-reported excellent health and no symptoms to complain of. Blood samples were collected from these men 9 times over 3 months, and when researchers compared the entire sample size, testosterone levels did not differ, alright, even with the huge age range. The true cause of declining testosterone levels is your decisions regarding how you eat, move, sleep, and go about everyday life, alright? Age is not an excuse. Alright, and now we move on to how you can order a testosterone test without the need of a doctor. For the complete step-by-step on this, I've linked out to my blog post below, which goes over everything you need to know. So the most accurate way to have your testosterone level measured is via a blood test. And if you're in the US, you can go to privatemdlabs.com. Just enter your postal code, choose the test that you want, and I'll go over which test I recommend in my blog post below. But all you have to do is choose the test that you want, enter your postal code, go to the lab, have your blood drawn, and then they'll email you your results a week later. And if you're outside of the US, just check out any of the labs in your local vicinity, and I'm sure that you can call them up and figure out how to go about doing that. You do not need a doctor to order a blood test, alright? I mean, I'm not sure if this applies everywhere, but at least in the US, you do not need a doctor. And your second option is to get your testosterone levels measured at home. And the best way to do this is to order a home test kit, which you can order through Amazon. Again, this depends where you are in the world and whether Amazon delivers, but the one that I recommend is made by EasyWell. So they'll send you a home test kit, after which you will give them a saliva sample, and then you'll mail it back, and then you'll get an email with your results. The thing with the saliva sample is that it is not as accurate as a blood sample, but either way, it will be giving you a measurement after which you can seek out how to improve your levels. Alright, so that wraps it up for how you can measure your testosterone levels. Just a quick recap. The first thing to understand is that testosterone is not just one number, alright? There's a difference between bioavailable testosterone, which is the amount available for your body to use, and biologically inactive testosterone, which is the one that is attached to SHBG. And this is why men with high total testosterone levels can still end up experiencing the symptoms of low testosterone because they do not have enough testosterone that's available for the body to use. The second point to understand is that the so-called normal range of total testosterone is not the range that you should look at, alright? Because the range is too wide, and you can end up experiencing the symptoms of low testosterone even while being within that range. A standard that you should shoot for in order to have optimal testosterone levels is above 700 nanograms per deciliter. And finally, you do not need a medical prescription to order a blood test. If you're in the US, check out Private MD Labs, and if you're anywhere else where they have Amazon, check out a home test kit. Otherwise, just call a local lab and ask them that you want to have your testosterone levels measured, after which you can figure out if you are below or above that 700 nanograms per deciliter standard. And if you want to dive deeper into all the research and all the studies on this topic, I've linked out to my blog post below. But I hope that this video has provided you with some action steps you can take to figure out if your testosterone level is where it should be. With all that being said, this has been Mo Salim from TripleYourT.com, and if natural testosterone optimization is a priority for you, check out my free quiz below, and that will help you figure out what you need to focus on, alright? Once again, this has been Mo Salim. I hope that this video provided you with the value you're looking for, and I'll see you soon.